This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, very warm welcome to everyone who's here with us. We are representing a group of women called WICI, and WICI stands for Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It's a premier national business chamber for women in India, envisioning global impact for women entrepreneurs, businesswomen, and professionals from all walks of life. We are volunteers who work for a national council under WICI, and we focus on reproductive health and rights. Our vision is to ensure every individual has access to the necessary care and resources they need to make informed decisions about their bodies, their lives, and their future. Our mission is to reach more than 10,000 women and adolescent girls this year to educate and empower them to lead a healthy, happy, and safe life. So today, let me introduce you the trainer for today, Avni Udeshi. She's a certified counselor and is passionate about puberty education and life skills education. She has conducted hundreds of workshops for children. She's the co-founder and director of Educational Software Technologies Limited and director at Vibrant Publishers. I just wanted to, before I hand over the meeting to Avni, I wanted to mention that if you have any queries, leave them in the chat box and we'll take them in towards the end of the session. So with that introduction, I hand over the meeting to Avni, and I hope you have a very fruitful hour with us. Thank you. Avni, take over.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, for the introduction. And I'd like to thank Kamal for hosting me. All you beautiful audience, a very good afternoon. Thank you for taking out time today afternoon for listening to this session. I hope you can take some information from this session. This 1 hour is fruitful for you.
Avni, just one request. So not only the people who are right now live, they would be attending, but also this session would be viewed later on by many of them that by the recording way. So, you can address all of us rather than only addressing who are present now.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
So a very warm welcome to all those who will be listening to this recording later on. And let us go directly to the beginning, because we might run short of time otherwise. So let me explain what is puberty or what is adolescence. Basically, adolescence is an age when you go through puberty. So young girls, when you're children, when as you grow up and as your body starts developing into an adult body, you go through an age called adolescence, which is when puberty strikes. Now, what is puberty? A lot of us have heard about puberty, the word puberty, but what is puberty exactly? So puberty is something wherein the body is preparing itself to become an adult. So there are a lot of changes that are happening in the body that will prepare your body to become an adult. As it is mentioned on the slide, it is a staged journey. So there are many stages to this journey. It's not that overnight one morning when you wake up, you suddenly become an adult. It's going to take some time, a few years for you to get your body ready for to be an adult body. Let us go through these stages and let us understand how the body is changing to prepare you to be an adult. Okay, so there are some physical changes that will happen in your body as you enter into adolescence age. One of them is your breasts will start developing. There will be growth spurts. So all of us, we are growing since the day we were born. However, as you enter puberty, you experience growth spurts. That is sudden increase in your height, or the process suddenly starts going at a high speed. So that is what we call as a growth spurt. You'll become, your hips will widen, you'll start having hair in your pubic area. Then you'll start developing hair in under your arms, on your legs. So that's a sign that you're going through puberty. And one of the very important changes, you will start getting your periods. So we'll talk about all of this as we go through this session in detail. Now, one thing that is you're going through all these physical changes. Now, what is responsible? You may be wondering that, all right, all this is happening, but who is exactly responsible for all this that is happening to my body? So there is a system in our body called as the endocrine system, which is responsible for all the changes that happen in your body during puberty. Or in other words, you can say that the endocrine system is responsible for taking you to be, to the stage where you become an adult. Now, endocrine system is just like any other system that you have, like the digestive system, the nervous system, or any other system in your body. I'll explain what are the most important glands of an endocrine system and what role do they play in, making your body ready for adulthood. So, if you see on the top, there is this gland called, there are three glands actually in your brain: the pineal gland, hypothalamus, and pituitary gland. Now, pituitary gland and the hypothalamus glands are the most important glands of the endocrine system. In a way, they control the entire endocrine system. They are responsible for telling the endocrine system or the glands in the endocrine system as to who has to do what at what time. The pituitary gland is a very small gland at the bottom of your brain. It's about pea-sized gland. And the hypothalamus is about almond-sized. It's on the central, bottom of your brain. What hypothalamus does is it acts as a connection or a link between the nervous system and the endocrine system, and it will secrete certain hormones. Hormones are basically some chemicals, the chemical messengers. Now, these hormones which it will secrete, it will send to pituitary gland so that the pituitary gland will then give signals or send messages to the other glands of the system. Now, that's the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. The pineal gland is responsible for the wake up and the sleep cycle of a person's body. So it ensures that the hormone called melatonin is secreted at regular intervals, and you get your sleep properly. That is what is the function of the pineal gland. Going below, just near your throat, you see a gland called thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is responsible for metabolism in your body. So basically, it makes sure that whatever you eat gets converted to energy, or what proportion of whatever you eat gets converted into energy and fat is dependent on the functioning of the thyroid gland. Again, it secretes a peculiar hormone or a messenger. Each of the endocrine system's glands will secrete different hormones which have a peculiar role to play. So basically, they will send different messages to the body at different times. That's what their role is. Then when you go down, you see the thymus gland. The thymus gland is basically responsible for immunity of our system. So it ensures that the body stays immune. When you're born, thymus gland is the largest at that time. As you start growing older, the thymus gland keeps reducing in size. In fact, at the age of 60, 65, the thymus gland would be about will be very small in size. It will stop producing the cells that it produces to ensure immunity of the system. That's why we say, as you grow old, the immunity of the system is not that good. Then, as you go further down, you see the pancreas. Now, pancreas is responsible for regulating the blood sugar level. It releases a hormone called insulin. It ensures that the sugar level in your blood is under control. Below the pancreas, you see the adrenal glands. These are a pair of glands. So there are two glands, if you see, one on the left, one on the right. Now these glands, their main role is to ensure metabolism, and they also work during stress. So in case you feel, so for example, a dog is running behind you, and the way you will react, whether you will want to fight the dog or you want to run away, that is decided by the adrenal gland. It ensures that it sends certain chemical messengers accordingly to fight that situation. Below that, you see ovaries. Here we are showing a female body. So we've shown ovaries here, which are responsible for the sexual characteristics or the sexual reproduction that a body is responsible for. So I'll be explaining you in detail about ovaries and how that entire reproductive system works in the coming slides. So so far, if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and ask me. Unmute yourselves and ask, or type it in the chat box and let me know if I can help you with any of these.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, Mahi, ma'am, I did not understand the adrenal gland till now.
Adrenal gland?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So see, adrenal glands are the glands which help you manage stress. So when we say it will help you manage stress, whenever you are in stress situations, it will ensure that it throws out energy or blood, glucose into the blood, so that it gives you extra pump of energy. It helps you fight the stress situation with that extra pump of energy which it throws out into your blood.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
It releases a hormone called as adrenaline.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Or should I just move ahead? You can anyways keep typing your questions in the chat box, and I will make sure that I read them towards the end. All right, so now we're moving to the stages of breast development. So I had mentioned earlier that breasts start developing as you enter your puberty. Now, breasts also don't suddenly have the full or the size that the adult body is going to have. So they will gradually develop. So as you can see here, we've shown stages 1 to 5. Gradually, your flat chest will start developing into breast. These stages could vary for each girl. It is not that every girl will have same size of breasts, or every girl will experience a certain stage at certain age or for a certain period of time. It will be different for every girl and for every woman. How can you take care of your breasts? So one important thing is, do not pluck the hair around your nipple. You can, if it is causing irritation or anything, you can cut it with, you can take an adult's help and cut it properly with a knife. I'm sorry, knife, with a scissor. But do not pluck it. It will cause infection. Check the discharge from the nipples. Protect it from touch against your will. So when I say protect it from touch against your will, you know that it is your body and it is your body part. You're not supposed to allow anybody else to touch your body parts without without your will. So make sure that nobody does that. If at all someone does that, raise your voice or stop them there. Go to an adult, ask for help. Make sure you tell them that this is what has happened so that they can take some action at the right time. Know yourself well. This is very important. Make sure that you know your body well. Don't be afraid of touching your breasts or knowing how they feel. Uh, you know, explore your body, know it well. Make sure you're aware of what is going on in your body. Now let me go to menstruation. So menstruation, or commonly known as periods, is something which every girl experiences, and it's a very important phase of which is required for reproduction. Now, reproduction, we all know that reproduction is something wherein a species gives birth to something similar of a similar kind of body, so that the species continues to uh, stay in the world, so that we don't get extinct. So reproduction is important so that we're not alone in this world. We have company in this world. So now, since reproduction is important, the body has to prepare itself to reproduce. That's what the body does during the stage of puberty. uh, because the body is preparing itself for reproduction, there is a time when the body is throwing out uh, certain wastes that are produced, which are not required until you want to reproduce. So the body is getting itself ready for reproduction, but you can reproduce when you want to reproduce. And until then, the body is ensuring that whatever is not required is thrown out, and that is what is happening during periods. So I'll explain you in detail what exactly happens in your body during periods. So this is the internal reproductive system in a female's body. If you see, there are ovaries. There are two ovaries at left and right. So a female body has ovaries. We've heard this word earlier in the endocrine system. These ovaries basically have millions of immature eggs since birth. As soon as you're born, the ovaries have millions of eggs in them. However, they are immature. They start maturing only once you enter puberty. Then the ovaries are getting connected through two tubes, which are called the fallopian tubes. And these tubes are connecting the ovaries to the uterus, which is in the center, you see. Uterus is also called the womb, a womb where the baby stays for 9 months. That is the place where a baby is kept safe in the body for 9 months. The uterus is getting connected through a small passage called cervix to the vagina. Vagina is the inner part of the body, whereas the outer part of the body is called the vulva. Now, this is the area that you see between your legs. That is called the vulva from the exterior. Inside, it is called the vagina. All right, now I'll explain how exactly the periods occur or menstruation occurs. So what happens is the ovaries, which I mentioned, have millions of eggs in them. Each month after you've entered your puberty, the ovaries will start to mature one egg in it. Now, as one egg starts maturing, the uterus starts preparing itself for pregnancy. The uterus starts to feel that now the egg is maturing, so now I will have to make sure that I am keeping the keeping my uterus ready for the baby to come and stay here for 9 months. So what uterus does is it starts preparing a thick wall around itself, which is formed of blood and tissues. So there's a thick lining that is formed around the uterus in which is called endometrium, and the uterus starts to feel that the baby is going to come now, so I have to start preparing myself. Now what happens is, now this egg that is matured, it goes through the fallopian tube, and when it goes through the fallopian tube, it needs another what do we call cell, another cell, which is which comes from outside the female body. It is called the sperm. You get the sperm from a male body. As you all must be aware that humans follow sexual reproduction. So you need two people for reproduction. One is a male and another is a female. We don't follow asexual reproduction like some other organs. So now what happens is you cannot reproduce without having a male and a female. You need both these people. So females, what do they have in their body? They have the eggs that are there in the ovaries. That is called their reproductive cell. And males will have the sperms, which is responsible for reproduction. So only when you have both of these, you will be able to reproduce or produce a baby. Now what happens is when your body realizes that the egg has gone to the fallopian tube, but there is no sperm given to the body. So it understands that the body is not wanting to reproduce at this moment. Hence, that egg which has gone to the fallopian tube, it dies. And because it has died, it has to be thrown out of the body. So now what happens is, through the fallopian tube, it goes to the uterus. The uterus understands that because it is dead now, it has to be thrown out. And also because it is dead, there is no baby that's going to be staying in my house for 9 months. So there is no use of the walls which I had created. So it starts shedding those walls, the walls which were made of blood and tissues. So now what happens is this dead egg and the blood and tissues, they start coming out of your body through the path, which is through the vagina. This is what is causing you periods. The thing which you see outside is blood and tissues. You won't be able to see the dead egg with your naked eyes. It is very tiny. So that is what is the cycle of your periods. So if you see this diagram here, towards the top, what happens is egg is released. So egg is released from the ovary, and then endometrium starts developing. Because egg is released, endometrium is starting to develop. However, it notices that there is no sperm that I have, so the egg is dead. So the endometrium is shed and it is thrown out along with the blood and tissues. And then that is what is causing you your periods or menstruation. However, if the egg would have matured, okay, no, sorry, I missed it. The rightmost is egg maturing and then it is being released to the fallopian tube. So the egg is not finding a sperm here, but this is what this diagram is showing. So any doubts here in the process of menstruation? No doubts, no problem. We'll go ahead. Now, understanding your cycle. So now what happens is most girls will have their start getting their periods between the ages of 9 years to 16 years. Some girls will get their periods even as early as 7 years, and some girls will get it later. It's perfectly normal. Different people can get their periods at different times, so it is not a problem at all. However, if you have entered, crossed 16 years, you've entered your an age where 17 years, and when you start feeling that you've not got your periods yet, then it may be a good time to go and consult a gynecologist and get yourself checked to make sure that everything is fine in your system. That is the periods. Breasts will start to develop much earlier than you get your periods. So usually you'll see that your pubic hair will start developing. You'll start getting your underarm hair. Then your breasts will start developing. For some, breasts may start developing before they get their pubic hair. Pubic hair, if you've not understood, it is the hair which grows around your vulva. This hair is not soft and smooth as the hair on your head. They are curly and a little rough. They're basically to protect your vulva. So you get your pubic hair and breasts start developing, and then you'll have your periods. Also, one more important point is that a lot of girls will not have regular period cycle for, initially when you start your periods. So I mentioned earlier that usually it will be a monthly cycle. A monthly cycle means 30 days. However, it will vary for different girls. For some girls, the cycle could be 28 days, 26 days, and for some girls, it could be 32 days or 35 days cycle. So once in every 28 days or once in every 35 days, you get your periods. Now, this cycle could be different for different people, and it is perfectly normal. However, when you start your periods, the first time you start your periods, for initial months, it is possible that you don't get your periods on, specific times. So maybe sometimes you got your period in 28 days, and maybe the next month you got your period in 35 days. Some other times you may get your periods in 15 days also, because the body is still adjusting to the whole new system. So it will take some time, maybe a few months, until the period cycle settles down, and then you can start, seeing a pattern that this is my period cycle. I usually get my periods in so many days. Okay, so this is the period cycle. The entire menstrual cycle can be divided into phases. So one is a follicular phase. Now, follicular phase is basically a phase when a hormone in your pituitary gland, which was there in the brain that I've shown you earlier, this hormone, which is called follicle stimulating hormone, it gives a signal to the ovaries that you have to start maturing an egg. Now, when the signal is given to the ovary, that is when your follicular phase starts. And this is when the uterus also starts to develop the wall that I mentioned, the endometrium. So this is the phase which is called as the follicular phase. Now, as this follicular phase ends, towards the end of this follicular phase, you'll see that ovulation, or the time when the egg matures and goes out in the fallopian tube, that thing will occur towards the end of the follicular phase. Before that, the uterus and the ovaries are preparing themselves and making sure that the egg is mature. After the ovulation phase, then you have the luteal phase, wherein the uterus lining, it starts to thicken and your endometrium develops. So this is how the phases are divided. Okay, so now what can you use during your periods, or how will you ensure that the blood that is coming out of your body, you are not staining yourself, or you are able to do your regular activities even when you're in your periods? So there are many things that can be used, starting with if you don't have anything at your rescue when you get your first periods, and what you could simply do is you could just ask for some tissue papers and use those tissue papers for the time being, until you could get some other help, like sanitary pads or a cloth pad. You could also use tampons or menstrual cups. However, I'll suggest that initially, when you get your first periods, do not directly start using tampons or menstrual cups, for the only reason because it will take some time for you to adjust to the new thing, thing that is happening to your history. There is no harm in using them. However, since it's anyways a new thing, it's better to start with a sanitary pad or a cloth pad and then move on to a tampon or a menstrual cup as you're used to the whole system of periods. If you're using a cloth for your periods, make sure that you're washing it regularly and then reusing it. Do not reuse without washing it properly and hygiene. Other ways in which you can make sure that you're maintaining your hygiene during menstruation will be you should bathe regularly. You should clean your wear clean clothes so that you're avoiding yourself from any infections. Make sure that you're changing your tampons or pads or whatever you're using regularly. Keep your genital area clean. Now when we say that you have to keep your genital area clean, it means clean it with water and soap from outside. However, don't use any soap or any deodorant or any such chemicals inside the body or into your. Do not insert any of these things into your vagina. Make sure that you're using not using cleaning agent in vagina. So yes, that's it. I will keep the session open for questions now.
Yeah, anyone who wants to ask any question can please leave them in the chat box. I'll take one question that was there in the chat before. Any awareness about boys' puberty changes or body structure changes during puberty?
Okay, so I have not understood the question, Amalpreet. If you would like to, do you want to ask that should you be aware of boys' puberty changes?
No, I want to know, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for this awareness session. It's really informative, especially for young girls. And ma'am, I want to know, it's not that I want to know, I'm a little curious that if there is any presentation for boys, something like this, because I deal with small children, which is a boys' school basically. So if I have to share something, I would like to know a little more about
The recording has stopped. This meeting is being recorded.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So that's what a similar presentation for boys. If there is anything, maybe not today, sometime later.
Yes, sure.
Some other day.
Sure, we can have a full session on how boys' bodies work during puberty and what are the changes that they experience. How does the male reproductive system work? So all of that can be explained in a separate session.
Yeah, because boys are equally very naive about all these information. They don't get the correct information, not even from their parents or friends or whoever. So something like that, if we could make our boys also aware. They also go through a lot of changes and they need to know about it.
Yes, definitely. That type of a session should be done. Whether it can be done through this platform, through Wiki or not, I'm not sure, because we are catering to.
But is this organization mainly about girls, only about girls?
Yeah, we are catering to all women health and reproductive.
Women health. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saeed.
Any questions?
Any other questions that anyone would like to ask?
Wanted to know can we have an access of these sessions to get our girls see the recordings?
Yes, I guess Kamal is going to share the recording link with all of you. So I'm sure all of you will be able to see it, and you can show it to your daughter as well.
Yeah, that's why, because all are in school right now.
Yeah.
It would be great. Actually, it was a wonderful session indeed.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Acha, one more question I had. As my elder one is, she's 17 plus right now. But since last, say, December, January onwards, she's having prolonged periods. Previously, she was having regular ones. But I don't know why ekdam say that periods have been prolonged. Say in January she had around 15-20 days जैसा कुछ हुआ था. उसके बाद में अभी I got to go to a gynecologist and some tests were done, but all were okay. There were no other irregularities in that. Abhi now she is going on into some medication. Or 21 days ka something is going, but because in March and April she got regular, say basically till 1 month she had, matlab not very much, but very less one, but it was regular in short. But anyhow I was not comfortable, so I got it in touch with the gynecologist once again, and she started with the pills then. So is it regular or is it due to some hormonal changes during 17 years or plus? I'm totally unaware of this. I was in a dilemma in that time.
So see, our hormones, they keep changing throughout, our lifespan. So there's nothing to worry as because you've already been to a gynecologist, she's already done other tests. You don't need to worry about the irregularity in the cycle. Sometimes cycles get irregular, but as far as there's nothing major going on inside and that you've already got checked, it shouldn't be something to be concerned about.
Okay, and she's having a lot of pimples also on her face these days. So is this due to the medicines or due to these hormonal changes only? Matlab, how we can understand it?
Yeah, I have not mentioned about pimples in my slide. However,
Yeah.
pimples are something which will happen during puberty, because what happens is inside the body there is a lot happening. So there's a lot of oil getting secreted outside. When there are things happening inside, oil gets secreted outside, and then that oil, when it settles down on the pores, it causes pimples. So it's a very normal thing during puberty, and she can take simple, things like she can keep washing her face regularly.
Yeah.
Those things would be fine. They'll settle down after a certain age.
Okay. The only thing is, matlab, anything important need to take care of these days.
Hygiene has to be taken care of, so she has to make sure that she's regularly bathing and washing her face
Yes.
regularly, and
At least
nutrition can be
twice some day she's doing. Matlab, she's going to her colleges these days. So while coming back, she does. Before bed also she does, and in the morning obviously she does.
So that's all that needs to be done. She can take care of, make sure that she's having good nutrition.
Yeah, I am taking
vegetables and such nutritious food is taken in, so that the body responds well. That's all. Otherwise, it's a normal phase of human life or a woman's life. So there's nothing to worry as far as she's taking good care of her body.
Yeah, actually, I had never gone any of these kind of experiences, so, and not with me or not my mother or anybody else in case. So I was totally unaware of these things, and just was worried these days ki why she's having such a different thing going on.
Sometimes the it could be different from what you have experienced or what your mother has experienced, but it's perfectly fine. The way you have described it, getting pimples or irregular period cycles should not be a cause of worry.
So these things can occur due to stress also.
Yes, but then stress is something which we all go through.
So right now she is in 12th standard, and probably because what I think her ekdam se changes are there in the study pattern. Previously there was a corona and all those things were going on, so it might be possible. Matlab, what I think is that
Stress can trigger these things.
yeah, they can.
Stress is also a factor. Yes, you cannot eliminate stress as a factor.
Okay. Thank you so much. So one more.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
As younger one is right now, she will be 12. Okay, and she had her first periods in March. Then April also, matlab, that was for day 2 only, not very much. But afterwards in April also it was there. But in after April she has not yet got. So is it, I hope these are normal phases, right?
Yes, as I said, it will take some time for her period cycle to settle down. So it's normal.
Thank you.
We have 5 more minutes in case anybody wants to ask any questions. All right, Avni, then we'll close.
Yes, I guess we can close if there are no other questions. Kamal, you'll be sharing the recording link later with them, right?
I suppose he said he'll share it with everyone who is registered for the session. All right, so I'll just present my vote of thanks. I hope you all had a very fruitful session. The last 45 minutes gave you a lot of information, and some of the tips and good things to follow, good practices are something that you're going to carry forward. And I hope everyone stays safe and learns more. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
ma'am.